Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, if you guys know anything about Kyrie Irving, you know that he's an enigmatic person, right? He's an enigmatic person. It's very hard at times to get a sense of where Kyrie Irving is at any given time. We all know that he is an extremely talented basketball player. I recently read an article where Tracy McGrady believes that Kyrie Irving is the most skilled offensive guard in the NBA. If you watch Kyrie Irving play, you know that he is one of the most skilled players in the NBA, extremely clutch, has arguably the best crossover ever. Arguably. Very talented basketball player. But with that, there are other things that come with Kyrie. We also know that Kyrie Irving can be temperamental. We know that he has had issues with pretty much all of the organizations that he's ever played with the exception of the Dallas Mavericks, because, well, we haven't seen him play long enough with the Dallas Mavericks yet. He only played with them for maybe half a season when he got traded there at the trade deadline from the Brooklyn Nets. We know when he came into the NBA, he was originally drafted as a Cleveland Cavalier. Then ultimately, LeBron ended up coming back to the team alongside with Kevin Love. And then they went out there and won a championship in 2016. But him and LeBron James did butt heads. Kyrie Irving did say, listen, if you guys don't find a way to get me the hell up out of here, I am going to get surgery. Because I believe what happened there was Kyrie Irving got some news that the Cavaliers were looking to trade him, I believe, for Chris Paul. And when that news came out, it didn't sit well with Kyrie. And then, of course, we know what happened in Boston. That didn't work out as well. And then ultimately, Kyrie Irving was moved to go play with the Brooklyn Nets alongside Kevin Durant. And then later on came James Harden. That team at the time, when they got James Harden, to use the phrase that James Harden used, it was going to be scary hours, and they truly were a scary team. I had not seen an offensive trio like that between the three of those guys. They were averaging about 75 points a game. It was unheard of. But over time, that team imploded, and some of it had to do with Kyrie. Now, what am I talking about? If you guys remember well, the pandemic hit. And governments were asking their citizens to be vaccinated, right? And private entities as well, people like, organizations like the NBA were also doing that. At the time, it became a very polarizing issue, and I think the majority of NBA players did get vaccinated, but Kyrie Irving elected to not get vaccinated because he had his own set of reasons why he did not want to do that. And because he was not willing to do that, it created this conversation around Kyrie, which was, is Kyrie Irving putting himself first over the team? Because all of the other teammates are making the sacrifice and going ahead and doing it, even though some of them are doing it begrudgingly. But Kyrie Irving is saying, no, I'm not going to do it, and I don't care if it affects the team chemistry or whatever, or what we're trying to build here. That's when him and that Stephen A. Smith thing really took on a life of his own, and a lot of people had their views about him. So essentially what happened was, Brooklyn told Kyrie, you know what, if you're not gonna get vaccinated, and New York was saying that you need to, then you cannot play any of the home games. It was unheard of. So he was sent home originally, and then he was asked to come back and only play road games. But Kyrie built a lot of support because there were people out there that respected the fact that he was willing to stand on what he believes in. So ultimately, we know that the NBA kind of lifted the ban, and then I think he didn't need to get vaccinated. The states lifted the ban because the NBA didn't demand teams. They just wanted players to do it. And then Kyrie Irving was now no longer, he didn't need to get vaccinated. Then after that, what happened next? The infamous tweet. He puts out a tweet about a film that had some, as to use the term that they were using, anti-Semitic tropes, and then said some anti-Semitic things. And Kyrie Irving put out this tweet, which created a firestorm, and then ultimately he ended up getting suspended, and he had to go through sensitivity. It was just a big mess. And in the midst of all of this happening, what was happening was it was tarnishing his reputation around the NBA to the point where some people were worried that Kyrie Irving may find it difficult to gain employment in the NBA with another team. Ultimately, he ended up getting moved from Brooklyn and now finds himself in Dallas with Luka Doncic. As you guys know, Dallas ended their season last year in an absolutely embarrassing fashion by tanking, losing on purpose. And we all know how that went. So what happened? This morning, I was doing some research and I came across an article from fadeawayworld.net. And the article has the following headline: Kyrie Irving sparks outrage after celebrating unvaccinated tennis stars' victory in U.S. Open. After years of scandal and drama, Kyrie Irving is skating on thin ice with the NBA community. Dating back to his last days in Cleveland, Irving has been an agent of chaos over the past few years, and his latest activity on social media has once again directed criticism in his direction. In a series of Instagram story posts this week, Irving celebrated the U.S. Open win for tennis star Novak Djokovic, who famously refused to get vaccinated for the coronavirus. In one tweet, in one picture here, it says, Kyrie Irving just posted a bunch of Instagram stories. Unvaccinated Novak won the U.S. Open. He won, and we will too. No, it says, damn, you write about all these conspiracy theories over the years. I thought you were crazy. That's what one image said. Another image said, did you know the media continues an invisible government that controls the public mind? And then he put that post up there. Djokovic was disqualified from participating in events for years before he was finally let back on the court, which is strikingly similar story to Kyrie Irving, who was banned from suiting up in home games for the Brooklyn Nets. If you remember, Irving was one of the NBA's most vocal critics against the vaccine, and he spearheaded a campaign that challenged the nationwide vaccine requirements. While every person and player is free to support their own principles, Irving's stance against the vaccine was basically like signing a death sentence for the Nets, who were counting on Kyrie to help lead them to success in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Morally speaking, many fans and experts take issue with Irving's anti-vax stance, and his posts on Instagram are only good for feeding the rage machine attached to his name. One person said, he just signed a new contract. He upgraded his tinfoil hat over the offseason. It's platinum now. Another person says, Mav gonna have a rough season. Another person said, Martin Luther King back at it again. And some other people said, another guy said, not again. And then with the Stephen A. Smith face, another person said, Kyrie, stay the hell out of politics and play ball. Another person said, and why are you so obsessed with Kyrie's post? It's truly embarrassing how you're trying to start a controversy that doesn't exist. So that was the reaction to what Kyrie Irving posted there. Here are my thoughts on this. And I'm not going to take too much of your time here. Here are my thoughts on this. I think Kyrie has carved out a niche for himself, and he's gained a lot of support. As you guys know, Kyrie Irving is a magnanimous person. He loves to give, and that's something that we cannot minimize in any way, because generosity is a big thing. So for him to donate his resources to people all around the world, that's something to be commended, because there are other people that can do it, that are not doing it. Not saying that everyone should do it as everyone's right, but if someone steps forward and takes that leadership role, we shouldn't condemn that person for it. We should commend them for it. And it also speaks to the person's heart that Kyrie Irving is a very generous person. However, I think we also have to be honest about what's really at stake here. The fact of the matter is this: Kyrie Irving is one of these people, whether it's fair or not, that finds himself in the box where if the media talks about Kyrie Irving, it's always going to be from a negative standpoint. Similarly to Russell Westbrook. At one point, Russell Westbrook was heralded by the media and media members, but now every single article, or the majority of articles that came out about Russell Westbrook over the last 6 months to 12 months have been all negative. In the case of Kyrie Irving, they're almost always negative. One of the biggest monikers that Kyrie Irving carries around with him these days is that he's a team destroyer, meaning wherever he goes, there's always going to be some issue, no matter the case. And in this particular situation, when you hear people saying not again, I'm afraid that it may bring on unwarranted criticism, right? Now, I don't think that Kyrie Irving is someone that shies away from criticism, because again, he's a man of his principles. He believes in what he's going to believe. and he's not going to let anybody sway him in either way. I think Kyrie Irving considers himself a free thinker. I think he likes to formulate his own opinions. Sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong, but that's everybody. We're all never 100% correct. However, I don't think that Kyrie should be surprised that if he continues down this path, that people start to say negative things about him. Because you got to understand, people are waiting to say negative things about you. One of the things people are going to say is Kyrie going to go to the Dallas Mavericks and mess it up? It was already kind of happening when he got there, because some people were saying that the Dallas Mavericks were more successful. They had a better chemistry without Kyrie than when they had him. So to me, I think that this is something to pay close attention to. It doesn't mean that, oh my God, he's a bad person, but I believe this particular issue is very, very polarizing, because this vaccine issue is a political issue. Whether we want to admit it or not is irrelevant. The fact of the matter is it is a political issue, because it was something that was mandated by certain local principalities and governments, or whatever it is, states, or whatever it is. So it is legislatively driven. And whenever you get into politics, as I've said before, and I'm going to say it again, you get into murky grounds and things begin to get messy. But hey, we could be reading too much into it now, but I think that if he continues down this current trajectory and he does things that's going to cause people to have a negative word about him, you're going to see that firestorm start all over again. And I'm afraid that they're now going to come up with that same argument. You see, now it's Dallas. First it was Cleveland. Then it was Boston. Then it was Brooklyn. Now it's Dallas. I hope that's not the case, but I guess we have to wait and see. So what I want to know from you guys, what do you think about this article? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we'll catch you guys on the next show. Peace.